Hate to say I told you so. Do I actually?
The time has finally come for me to make a decision on what I'm going to be doing, and this decision has been one of the hardest decisions of my career. And this year at the CrossFit Games,
we only got 37 days till the games. We gotta go.
this is gonna hurt like a mother.
Tia-Clair Toomey announced today that she will be competing at the 2025 CrossFit Games in Albany, New York, something that has been widely speculated by other people, but something that I've said is likely true for months. Tia put out a video several months ago talking about her season and how she was unsure what was happening after Torian. There were some things that sounded like she was possibly retiring, never said those words. Everyone took the open-endedness of what she was saying and they created their own end. They're like, we need to button this up and we're gonna choose retirement. But she didn't choose that or say that. So now she's coming out and saying officially that she is going to be competing at the CrossFit Games. In her video, she did say it wasn't necessarily her intention to compete, but it just sort of happened.
I mean, I couldn't even have dreamt of a better way to send off, if you will. And I think it's only fitting to see through the season and go to the CrossFit Games.
I don't know if I actually believe that. Not so much that she maybe didn't know what she was going to be doing. There could have been questions, especially as she entered the High Rocks world, of will she do both? And maybe not being totally sure that she'll be doing the game season, but I don't believe at any point that she had ever completely ruled out doing the game season, and the results kind of lean that way too. Oh yeah, and if you're enjoying this content, please remember to subscribe. I am finishing up booking all my stuff for the CrossFit Games, so lots of content to come, and it helps me to give you all this free content if you support me by subscribing. Thank you. And she talked a little bit about the fact that she did focus primarily on High Rocks this year, and now she's focusing more on strength to get ready for the CrossFit Games. But she also did focus on bobsled for a bit during the off-season once, trying to qualify for the Winter Olympic Games. Still went on to win the CrossFit Games. So it wouldn't take any of that to mean that she is not the favorite. And they also talked about that in the video in a really weird way. They put this question up underneath the video that said something like, spectators who don't want you to go because it's an automatic win. Like, what was her reaction to that concept? And let me tell you, I do get it, because in 2022, I did a video, one of my first videos on this YouTube channel before the CrossFit Games, talking about how Tia constantly winning was a little bit boring. But it's become a little less boring in my opinion. 2022 may have been a bit boring, but then she got pregnant. So coming back from having a baby, that's a major thing. So that made 2024 a very interesting season for her, which to be able to get back after having a baby to the top of the podium. And she competed against Laura Horvath at Rogue in October, just a few months after having her baby, I believe 5 months, and she didn't win that. So it made it more compelling. And now this year, she was competing in High Rocks all year. Now she's shifting her training just a few weeks before the CrossFit Games. And now we get to see, can she hold up? Can she compete? Can she do both these things at very elite levels? And I think that, again, makes it more interesting than it was when she was just winning and just focusing on CrossFit. And she made some good points that, you know, it could be anyone. It always could be anyone. No one's coming in at an advantage.
The comments of like that is very complimentary to what I've done in the past, but it doesn't mean anything for the future, and everyone is at zero. We all are showing up, everyone's putting in the work, and so, you know, it's going to be a real dogfight when it comes to the CrossFit Games, and I think that it's really important to stay focused.
But it'll probably be Tia. But maybe it'll be a race, and that'll be exciting. And to see if Tia can do both at this most elite level, it does make it more interesting. She also alluded to the fact, though, that this may be her final year, but again, did not say it.
It will be really cool to walk off the floor, embracing my family, and really proud of my efforts and the legacy that I strive to leave behind.
And I'm okay with all of this. Some people I've seen in her comments are getting a little bit upset that she keeps on teasing things, but this is part of being a good businesswoman. This is part of capitalizing on when she has the eyes, when she's most successful. Being an elite athlete is not a forever thing. There's going to be a point where she can't compete at this level, and she should make as much money as she can while she can. We see that in other sports. We see that with other athletes. Why not see it here? And when she does all these things that make people click on her videos because we're unsure of what she's doing, that benefits her brand. Going into the high rock space benefits her brand. It expands Proven. Staying in CrossFit also benefits her brand because there are definitely crossover, but there's people on both sides as well that don't cross. So I think she's doing a great job at being a good businesswoman, and I can respect that. And I've said this before, like, get your bag, Tia, get your money. You deserve it. And marketing is so important, and she's doing it well. But you know who isn't doing marketing well? CrossFit. Or there's a possibility they may end up doing it less well. So there was something in an email that the owner of my gym sends out every week, Craig Howard of Diablo CrossFit, very historic gym, going to be celebrating its 20-year anniversary this year, which is pretty cool. I've not been doing CrossFit that long, but you know who has? Craig. And he talked about CrossFit branding. He said there's some debate in the community, and most notably among affiliate owners, a group that I am not a member of, but he is, about what the tagline for CrossFit should be, how CrossFit should market itself and present itself to the world. And for a long time, and still now technically, the tagline has been forging elite fitness. If you've been in the CrossFit space for some amount of time, I'm sure you've seen this somewhere. And I love it. I don't think they need to change it. In fact, I think they should lean harder into it. And I think the people that are naysayers about it don't quite understand it. We'll break that down, but here's some of the other things that he says some people are suggesting, which are curing chronic disease. Love that concept. Don't think it should be the tagline for the gym. It just sounds a little bit funny, and I think it's not necessarily misleading, but confusing. It sounds like it might be a diet protocol, which CrossFit does have one of those, but it sounds like it's more of that than it is exercise in my brain, but maybe in someone else's too. And another one is healthy community for life. Let's not do that. That just sounds corny. I'm not into it. But forging elite fitness, I am into that. And I have been into that for 11 years. When I started CrossFit in 2014, they were leaning into that, and they did that for years. I think where people sometimes get a little bit confused about the messaging is in some of the wording. I think it's concise. I think it encapsulates what we do in the CrossFit gym very well, but I think some people could be intimidated by the wording. Although I don't think we should really be worried about those people. That also goes back to a quote by Greg Glassman, which is probably my favorite quote from him ever. And that is, CrossFit is not for everyone, but it is for anyone. And I think that quote and forging elite fitness fit together perfectly. It's like a harmonious marriage. And I think that forging elite fitness lends itself to those people who CrossFit is for. Let's break down the words. We have forging, right? Forging is like intensity. It's forging in fire. It's the idea of what CrossFit is, which is constantly varied functional movements performed at a high intensity. That works well with forging. Now, the second word is the part that I think maybe some people find a bit off-putting. Not the people that I think CrossFit is for, but some people may find off-putting or may worry that it puts other people off from CrossFit. And that is the word elite. But I think the word elite is misinterpreted. In this instance, I think the word elite means finding your highest potential. That's how I think elite works in this sentence. And maybe some people don't interpret it that way, but it's this idea that anyone can develop an elite level of fitness for yourself, a more elite level of fitness than you have pre-CrossFit. And CrossFit is going to get you to being fitter than you ever have been before. I think that's what the elite means. And I think we used to lean into that more. There is this video that CrossFit put together after the 2018 games continued to rise. Sean Woodland voiced it over, and he says things in this that alludes the fact that yes, these are the fittest, but they inspire the rest and they represent the rest.
They represent each drop of sweat fallen, every pound of fat lost, diseases cured, and capacity gained. They are the 0.001%, the tip of the spear.
And if you haven't seen that whole video, I will link it below and up here so you can check it out because you need to. It's all so good. And Sean Woodland is so good. I am a big Sean Woodland fan. Hope to see him back doing CrossFit things as often as possible. And then finally, the word fitness. Craig had this in his post. It makes you ask, well, what is fitness? Forging Elite Fitness, what is it? And it gives you the opportunity to explain what CrossFit is. It is measurable, it is observable, it is repeatable, it is something that you can test over and over again and see your results and see your growth. I don't think there's a better, more simple, succinct tagline that CrossFit could use other than Forging Elite Fitness. And I think they should not only continue to use it, but lean harder into it. Market Tia-Clair Toomey in her final games and how she forged this elite level of fitness that she is able to compete at an elite level in high rocks, that she was able to compete as an Olympic weightlifter at the 2016 Olympic Games, that she was able to attempt to make a winter Olympic team in bobsled because she's forged this elite level of fitness through CrossFit. CrossFit needs to market that. CrossFit needs to lean into that. CrossFit needs to embrace that and not look at any of these other suggested taglines. I can't think of one that would be better. I'm not a marketing guru, but this got me. When I started CrossFit, 2014, I couldn't do anything, right? Like I had never used a barbell prior to starting CrossFit, never touched one. And I remember going home after my introduction and it was during regionals and I went and watched regionals and I was so inspired by all of that. That was the year they had the Muscle Up Biathlon at the games, and the gym I was at in New Jersey, they programmed that workout after the games. And no, I was not doing a Muscle Up Biathlon like 2 months into CrossFit, but I did it with pull-ups. I think it might have been banded pull-ups, but you were able to do this test that the elites were doing and scale it down to what was elite for you, what was your highest potential in that moment, and do the same workouts as the top dogs. Yes, it looks a little bit different, but you're doing the same thing. You're getting a similar stimulus, and it's what makes CrossFit so special. And it's what forges elite fitness. All right. That wraps things up. He is super alert because there were some fireworks a little bit earlier. We're getting close to the 4th of July and people like to do them earlier and earlier and earlier. And dogs hate them. But we appreciate you all for watching and we'll see you in the next one.